was surprised by this movie in many ways.
To say.
Hello, I'm Derek,
And I'm Peter.
and this is the Mog Live.
In this live stream, both of us watch Star Wars and hope for the best.
Ahsoka, episode 3.
I actually watched the first 2 episodes again,
Did ya?
if you
What'd
can
you
believe
think?
it. Yeah, it was
What-
fun.
second
It was
time
good. It wasn't anywhere near as. It didn't feel anywhere near. I watched it on the big screen instead of on a computer screen.
It's quite
Which
analytical what we're doing, hey? We're sitting at a desk.
It is.
watching.
Yeah, we're over analyzing, which is what everyone does with these things.
But if I think
So-
we were on a couch, like just chilling popcorn, you wouldn't
Yeah.
feel as bad. It'd be a bit more
I don't
relaxing.
think so at all. I think that probably the more spaced out story would give you time to have a bit of a nibble and crunch and not get irritated with your neighbor who's watching it alongside you, because they might be able to crunch in between moments.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think? Meow, meow.
Does Ada watch it with you?
They're not the biggest TV watchers, but they do keep me company
What do they like?
occasionally. Food.
But on TV, do they watch like Puss in Boots and
They don't
Growl?
know. They might. No. There's never anything on TV that they jump at. But if there's barking on TV, they do go, "What was that? What was that?"
Oh, yeah.
So
Remy used to be
But,
bad with that, hey? When he saw a dog?
he's he's worse now.
Oh,
Yeah, he's much worse now.
yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me
and
about,
Ada's joined the club.
Episode 1 and 2. What were the highlights then? Second time round.
I liked the Corellia fight scene. I thought that was good.
Jog my memory again.
Where for the Empire, where they meet the guy that
Yeah.
that's the businessman and shows him around Corellia, and then there's an action scene where she there's a lightsaber fight and a space fight. There's a little bit of good humor in there.
That
Some,
really ticked all the Star Wars boxes in one, like, 10-minute sequence, didn't it?
Yeah.
They had the droid,
And I
the
think-
comic relief with the droid, but the reaction shots for the action and lightsaber going on simultaneously. They really set that up well.
Yeah, and if it wasn't for one little thing about the beginning, I liked the beginning as well, and I do like the bad guys, the 2 Dark Jedi or whatever they are. I think they're pretty good. The one thing about the beginning I don't like is where the guy's like, "Oh, but bring him on board. Why not? And let's bring him a welcoming party of 6 people." That to me is like.
right. Yep.
That was probably the only thing for me that was just stupid, because they don't know what's on board the shuttle. There's no information about what's on the shuttle or anything like that. They don't know what's coming out of there. It could be a bomb for all they know.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, come aboard. Why not?
Yeah.
I don't buy it. That overconfidence. There's overconfidence and there's stupid. And the guy didn't come across as stupid, but what he did came across as pretty damn stupid.
Yeah, it's just bad
And
writing then at that point, isn't it?
Paid off for it. Yeah, I mean, hell, what would have it been even? I guess what would have made it a bit more realistic if we knew if he was like, force manipulated, like they won't let him aboard and they talk to the guy over a comm or something like that. It goes, "You will let us be aboard." That would make more sense than, "I don't buy it. I think you're just Imperial trash." And
Well, it's tropey. That's the thing. And you mentioned this in the first one. They're ticking off the tropes. Stupid rebels. you know, doing
That's it, but that's not
inconsistent
even
things.
that's not a trope. Bad writing is not a trope.
No, but like
Bad writing
that's what
is
the
bad
rebels have
writing.
always done. They've always had this weird sort of lapse in judgment at time to time.
When?
The rebels.
Yeah, when have they had a relapse in like a definitive lapse in judgment
Oh, I'm just
that
talking in general. They just sort of there's
in
holes.
general
There's holes in the plot. There's always been.
that comes down to writing. That's not the rebels the rebels deliberate behaviors. That's just bad writing.
Yeah, yeah, I guess.
You wouldn't see that crap in Andor.
Yeah, Andor's a different thing, isn't it? But so what I'm getting at though is that with this series in particular, I really think they're ticking off all the boxes. They have a a really epic Star Wars scenes, and they have just enough so you can put it in a trailer and sell it. And also lightsaber
Yeah,
scenes, and they have just enough that it'll sell in a trailer. So next we're going to see some sort of training scene because they've set that up very,
I mean
very
a
well.
montage.
A montage of
Got a little
training,
montage.
maybe even like little droid flying around and she'll zap it.
That would be interesting. Yeah, we'll see.
They're on the
Let's hope
ship.
not.
They've set it up to be very Han Solo-ish. Even the ship looks very Han Solo-ish.
Yeah, there's things that I've seen Dave Filoni do in other shows that I've enjoyed because he skirted the line between a trope but also with a little bit of something more interesting in it. Like he knows he's playing a trope, but there's just a little bit more to it than just
Well,
like
there's no acknowledgement of it. It's like, you
yeah,
Jedi never take the straight. There's always some twisted, and that's
yeah.
acknowledging the fact that that's the way that it's always been written and the way it's probably
Mhm.
going to continue to be done.
Yeah, I just think lapses in reason is the worst excuse in writing. Like it's the worst. And anytime someone does something that a professional in their position would be stupid to do, and they do it, like destroys scenes, and they do that all the time in other shows to get the plot moving. Like if you can't come up with a reason for something to happen with smart people and the situation arises, then you shouldn't do it at all.
What's the other examples?
Well, that's the main one because, like, I don't think there was anything else. Oh, yeah, well, there was her taking the orb to her place to do her own analysis because she's cocky and self-assured and overconfident. I thought that's another example where like even like calling out people being stupid is not an excuse for writing people as being stupid. Like, that the worst example of that is of course in Rise of the Skywalker where someone says, "Well, it looks like Palpatine's back.
That's honestly
Somehow
why
he
I
came
thought
back."
Dooku could be back. I thought I saw him in the trailer, but he's not. I think it was just the other guy, the actual villain that we've seen already. But I thought it looked like
Yeah.
Dooku because I hadn't seen a face like that for a while. And I thought, well, Palpatine's back. Dooku could be back. Anything Grievous, anything's on the fucking table
Well,
now because
the
they've done
actor's
that thing.
dead.
Is
That
he?
actor's
Oh, is
yeah,
he? What's his
Christopher
name?
Lee died, yeah.
Oh, when did he die?
Christopher Lee. Oh, a while ago now.
All right.
It's hard to know when you get old. 10 years becomes 5 years become 10 years, and
He was
2 years
great. I was
becomes
actually
5 years.
excited that he might be back
Oh, right.
because he's quite a good
Yeah. Well, they
actor.
could have lifted up his corpse. Oh, I
Reanimated.
recognize you, Lord Vader. You were Lord Vader's puppy. Roar.
So I was going to
Um,
ask you, what are some of the other tropes that you enjoy watching then? I don't mind a good Jedi training scene.
um, like it's not so much a trope playing; it's how it's written. So I don't mind tropes. I just think if they take, like, you have to acknowledge that you're doing the trope, and you have to have a little bit of a spin on it to make it interesting. because no one wants to watch the same story played over and over and over again just for the sake of recognizing it.
I actually, well, that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what we're doing. It's kind of the same story over and over. Like, there's not
Oh,
much new
there's
in this, I would say. It's not treading new ground.
yeah.
But I don't mind it. I would actually watch an episode of, this woman that we just met. I know people know her, but I wouldn't mind seeing her progress in a training video
Well,
montage.
I'll
That
give
would
you.
be exciting to me.
I'll give you an example where you can have a trope and eat it too. Um, and that's where then that's the bad guy in this, the Jedi guy,
What's his name?
where Reuben,
Ruben.
Ryben, Chrysalis, Chiben, Kyburn, Ryburn, I've forgotten.
Okay.
Rebel.
Were you going to call him Ruben? I don't mind that.
Reuben the Jedi. Sorry, I just
It's
laughed
just
at my own
like
joke.
in New York.
Yeah, Reuben the Jedi. He's speaking with a New Jersey accent.
Yeah.
Uh,
Hey, Ruben. Oi.
you literally just did an Australian accent. An
What's a New York accent?
I'm not even going to try. I'm just going to fail so bad.
Forget about it.
Oh,
Ruben, forget about it.
you're doing it more. You just did a. Yeah, no.
You talking to me?
You talking to me? You did it too. Moi. It's when you do moi. You talking to moi? Guess there's someone else here, mate.
So, sorry, you were saying Ruben?
True. Just that there's parts of him that aren't like he's not bad. He's like there's a reason. Like you get a sense that there's a reason he's doing what he's
Well, I
doing.
would say that until I picked this up. He said, what about us? There's quite an interesting dynamic with his Padawan. She doesn't care about ultimate power, but his answer is ultimate power.
Yeah.
It instantly black and whites it for us in our Star Wars universe again. He is the villain.
True. No, but he is. That's okay. But for him to say, like in the end, I like the bit where he says, to kill another Jedi would be a shame. There are so few of them left.
Yeah.
Like, and he sucks in his breath and says that, the way that he did it, like even like that could have been done badly. That could have been done that could have been done poorly as well. Where it could have been implied sarcastically that to kill them would be a shame. Would be a shame. There's so few of them left. I just gotta be. Yeah.
It's interesting because that's how they ended that episode on that note. So it's quite good. I think it was very intentional.
Yeah, I like his character. I like the way that the actor is playing that character. So then there's the question of is it bad writing, bad directing of the actors, or bad acting? Generally, I don't necessarily think actors can be always to blame for poor performances.
Especially with this stuff, because it changes director every week. It's not a consistent experience for them. They've got to be very experienced, and some of these actors are really quite young.
And some of them are really quite experienced as well, like the Ahsoka character.
Rosario?
Like it's all leaving me now. Rosario Dawson, yeah. Dawson's Creek, Rosario Street.
Yeah.
Is quite a seasoned actor, and she's played it a lot. She's played a lot of parts. So
but I don't think they're leveraging that, just in the way that she's just not really showing any emotion at this point.
And that's why I'm saying, like, I think it's about the direction towards the actors. rather than like if they're not getting like I think sometimes maybe directors, particularly ones who've written certain lines, are seeing their lines being portrayed and acted, might forget that they have to be done well.
Yeah, it's almost
Um,
like the written and directing thing is that it's that they're being grouped together, whereas there should be some separation for it to be objective, subjective.
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. So that like you gotta work what you've written down into something that can be changed so that it sounds more real, or that the director isn't so attached to it, or even if he is attached to it, he knows what the way that it should be acted, like the inner how the actor is portraying what's going on internally for them. Like
I
it's
mean,
still
McGregor did it so fantastically, in Obi-Wan.
oh yeah,
And that's what you
yeah,
can really relate to. There's so much
and
space for
he's
the
a
audience to live in his like face. He just gives an
yeah,
expression and we're
yeah.
immediately in his world. Whereas I mean it's looking at Ahsoka trying to figure out, is she just pissed off? Is she like, why is she such a bitch all of a sudden? Because she's meant to be this badass, like, heroine, but we haven't seen much of that. We've seen this sort of catty, weird, closed off, you know. So
Well,
I don't know
she's
if
yeah,
there's
she's
intention
coming
behind that.
across as a bit, yeah, she's coming across as a bit uh not petty, but hurt or something like that. It's like this thing between a Padawan and the Master thing is like, oh, well, she left me, and the others, oh, she left me, and she doesn't want to talk to me, and she doesn't want to talk to me. And it's just like, well, rise above it.
Let's say this was your favorite. Let's say it was Mark Hamill,
Mm.
and it was a story about Luke Skywalker. Did
Mm.
Luke ever have a Padawan? He was.
No.
He never had one
Uh,
in the
Grogu
backstories.
was his. Grogu was his first.
But in the backstories, was there anything?
Oh, you mean in the legends? Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did. I think he did. He started a Jedi Academy. There's literally a series called Jedi Academy, I believe, and he's like the head of the school.
And who was his Padawan then? Did he have one?
I think he had lots, but I think he taught multiple students. Like this is remember Legends was written before Phantom Menace came out, so this whole master apprentice thing, uh, while it played out in the original series, it wasn't necessarily the trope. So just because Luke was taught by um, Obi-Wan doesn't like the situation dictated that it was a teacher student between just them, but it wasn't necessarily saying that that's how the relationship always was.
Oh,
The trope of a master and an apprentice thing, um, like it only played out. It started in the prequels, really,
I
and
think
even
with a
then it
book
was a
though,
bit
because you're
mixed.
talking about a book, is it a book series?
Yeah,
With a book, you can have so much more going on in terms of screen time because our consciousness can keep track of all these characters and dynamics, and we're reading and it's all keeping track. Whereas on screen, it's quite hard to show a lot of relationships at once, especially with limited time. So maybe they simplified
mm.
it for that reason, master and apprentice as a relationship. You know,
I'm not sure because at the same time they've also like you've still got Yoda teaching multiple students. So I don't know. I think it made sense in that it made sense for the universe for it to be that way, and it was less about multiple masters and apprentices for the Jedi as it was very specific to the Sith, which was where it was definitely you know explicitly stated, "Only two there are, a master and an apprentice.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, but that was only for the Sith, not for
Mm.
the Jedi. And it was, I don't think it was like you were given a master, but I mean, people had multiple masters at different times as well. Like, you know,
It was a bit more
even
democratic, eh? There was a bit more of a committee and just sort of a pool of masters, and they were all
I
sort of.
think so.
But
But
what I'm sort of talking about, let's say this ultimate hero, Luke Skywalker, is gracing your screen, and
mm,
um, and he's got free reign. You know, he's got free reign of the Star Wars universe pretty much at this point of his life. You
right,
know, the Empire's gone. There's
yep.
still you can inject any sort of minor villain
Time
you'd
to
like
have
to.
some fun with the ladies.
Well, also the Force, right? You'd want to see a bit of the Force, wouldn't you?
What do you? I'm trying
I'm
to
just
figure out
asking.
what it is you.
I'm asking you
Mm.
what you want to see. I have asked you sort of what tropes you'd like to
Uh,
see, what you'd enjoy seeing.
oh, Luke Skywalker would always be a good thing.
Yep.
Uh, but and again, I used to think that, and then they made the Last Jedi.
But I mean,
Um,
Luke Skywalker doing what? I mean, there's one thing about a character, but what's he doing?
Kicking ass,
Ah, you want to see
showing.
big battles?
Well, you want the justification of everything that has come before to indicate that this dude seriously is the best of the best. Like, there's not going to be anyone better after or before. Luke is the best.
And this sort
Uh,
of reminds me of that the fact that it is a fantasy and it's got that element of you've got your training, you've got your little guy growing up to be this thing, and then you have to show that. In fantasy novels, there's always they go into the huge battle and it's the little guy that came this whole way and defeated everything. And
yeah,
that's the arc. That's like the
yeah,
fantasy arc. So it'd be good to
yeah.
see that, I think, as well with Ahsoka.
And and yeah, I guess. And the thing is with there's actually someone who had started writing these like AI. I think they wrote the scripts and they did this like AI artwork over the top of it called "What If Star Wars Was Awesome" or something like that.
Ah.
And they lean heavily on like if the Phantom Menace and all of that played out with the story, and they changed the story. How could they make it awesome? And it is a lot better. And Luke is not a little bitch
They lean
in
heavily
it.
on what?
Well, what they did, I only watched the first one, but what they did is they used all the characters that were in the sequel trilogy, so Rey and everyone, but they put them in different positions, different roles, um, different. The nature of the relationships was different. Um, some of the outcomes were different, and and the story did sound a hell of a lot better than it did for. Like, it wasn't perfect. It did have like some cliches and tropes in it, but it certainly was a hell of a lot better than what we got in terms of uh like it fixed a lot of issues that were created
How did what
or
what I'm
prevented them from
specifically
happening.
interested in Ray and Luke's relationship. What did they do there? How did they fix
Ray
that?
was Ray was the bad person in the first episode.
Ah.
Ray was a bad Padawan, and they got abandoned at the end.
A bad Padawan to who?
No, sorry, she was an apprentice
Oh,
to
she was a Sith, basically.
yeah. And in the end of the first episode, she was abandoned by
Oh,
the master to the rebels or whatever.
that's a big rewrite.
I know.
Does she end
And
up being taught by Mark? By Luke?
I haven't watched the subsequent ones and what happens in them, but I've heard they're good. And like they he he kick Luke just like decimates her at the end of like the episode. Like she fights with Ben, who is what is he in
Yeah, I know.
Kylo Ren. Yeah, Ben. She fights with him and she kicks his ass. Uh, and then Luke comes into the picture and just whitewashes it. Uh,
Ah,
and there's like scenes where you get to see Luke basically doing crazy shit, like like they drop a massive bomb on Coruscant and in the Senate and just wipe everyone out. But Luke is actually in the middle of it and he saves a whole bunch of people with his
ah,
power. It's still standing with him sitting in the middle of it all.
wow.
So, so there's a lot more of he's actually not a yeah. It's taking place in a world where
That's kind
you
of
know
also what I'm getting at, you know. You've got these huge, like we saw it. You know, this is the first time we're seeing a Jedi in her full power. She's not like
yeah
learning anymore. She's
yeah
got these crazy abilities, and we've never seen them. We've never ever watched anything like that, what you're describing. A Jedi being hit with a bomb and protecting people. We've never seen anything like that. I don't know why not. I don't know why
you
they don't
do
go
see
there.
it. Well, you see it in the animated series.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, like they have done stuff like that in the animated series. But
Why not here, though?
well, I mean, Reva's immortal.
What's that?
If you
Yeah. But I mean, like,
like, she got
spectacular.
stabbed a lot.
I mean, everyone gets
Reva.
stabbed. That's a trope now. But, you know, like that sort of spectacle. Why don't we see the spectacle in these series? No, you're describing because it would be epic. I
I
agree.
don't know. I don't know why they push back on some of that stuff. Um,
It's almost Matrix level epicness. We've seen it in Matrix and other universes,
mm,
but we're not in this one. They hold back a bit. Is it because of the
I
hate
think
that they would receive from like Uber fans? That's not
I
possible. The Force can't, you know, blah blah.
before force can't turn a person into a. I don't know. I was going to say something stupid and
Is it
probably
because of
crass.
the yeah? Because they want to tread lightly because of the Uber fans?
Maybe it's because they don't want to demonstrate force that's against canon, so they don't want to push it too far because there's this whole like power level thing and who is more powerful than who and what who can do what more than who. So,
Yeah,
you know, they probably go, okay, so if Yoda's the bar for a really awesome Jedi and he can pick up an X-wing, who can do what better
yeah.
than what? And so, you know, we show Darth Vader holding onto a spaceship. Can all Jedi do that? So then they probably have to talk to Dave Filoni or whoever about power levels and capability and what they can and can't do. So, but that's the thing with Luke. That was the whole thing about Luke is he's
He
supposed to
was
be
the
awesome.
ultimate.
So he could
Mm.
do anything if you want. If you wanted to write him in a situation where he could do something awesome, then there's your chance to do it. And they had that chance, and they completely cocked it up
Yeah,
by taking him away from it. Like literally saying, and in fact, from my understanding, that was what they said was that if you put Luke in any situation, he just sucks up the scene. Is in the sequel trilogy was like, how do we write Luke so he's not so amazing? Is like the dumbest idea. Like, oh, it's going to detract from the main characters that we've written, so let's make it so that he's not quite as amazing. It's just like sometimes I think that people feel they've written themselves into a corner, but only because they want to tell a story that doesn't actually fit an environment or a situation. It's like
yeah.
it's like trying to change characters to fit a story that you want rather than saying, well, this situation wouldn't actually occur with the characters that have been established.
Well, the problem is like that's who the characters they decided were. They wanted a new generation.
Yeah, that's right. And there's ways that they could have done it, but
But that wouldn't have been a story about Luke then. Like him coming in to save the day immediately makes him the sort of protagonist, doesn't it?
well, yes, but you've got three movies to turn the protagonist into something else and change who the main protagonist is. I mean, hell, they did it in Game of Thrones multiple times. A lot of the people who are protagonists died. you know, it's it's not that you can't do it. It's just if you want it to all happen and you have your cake and eat it too and have everything solved, and then you sacrifice the characters to do so, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. Like, you should be working with what a character is to develop the story, not try to change the character to fit your story, them into your story, because then you may as well just write a different character, which is what they did. And Mark Hamill called it Jake Skywalker.
Jake.
So, what are your hopes for this part 3? What is your takeaway? How has your reflection gone, and where has it led you to?
Honestly, I'm pretty over the fact that they're just retreading old ground, and that's why I'm sort of reconciling the fact that I've got to commit myself to another 4 episodes of retreading the old ground. So I've got to say, okay, at least there'll be some tropes that I can enjoy in the Star Wars universe, because I won't be getting an Andor story in this.
Yeah,
I won't be getting any more, pushing the boundaries of storytelling, which I believe they can do, and they've got a huge audience.
What I would say is that it's not. I don't think, as much as Obi-Wan had some good scenes in it, overall, it was painful.
Well, that one scene redeemed it all, and it was in particular because they knew what they were doing with that one scene.
But
that pushed the boundaries of storytelling.
We had 5 episodes leading up to that. 5 episodes where we were basically disillusioned.
Oh, right. I see what you mean.
Do
you think there's hope for this then? What do you see happening then to save it?
Well, it's not bad enough to lose hope in it yet. And, it's not bad enough to... I think you got to wait for some series to finish before you can ultimately declare what the outcome was. And Obi-Wan's a good example of where it can still be a bad series and have some really good stuff in it. Yeah. But overall, it was a bad series. This has started off as an interesting series. It's treading a worn path, but there is potential there with the characters. So,
by the way, I did watch Mando season 3, and it was that forgettable that I forgot that I'd watched it. So this is what where I'm coming from.
You had one?
I have watched it, and I was like, "Shit! Wow, I've watched this already. It's that forgettable." Maybe I'm getting old as well.
And that's like the bad guy in that. The bad guy in Mandalorian is a forgettable character. Like, this guy that we've got at the moment, the Jedi guy we've got at the moment, has far more charisma than the bad guy that was in the other one. He was just your traditional bad guy who wanted power. And this guy tells you that he's after power, but there's at least nuance to him. And you've got that just from 2 episodes. Whereas this guy's had, that guy was just bad. I'm just a bad guy. I do bad things. And I want power.
Terms of moving parts, the thing that could save Obi-Wan and did was the relationship between Anakin and Obi-Wan. And we had that in the past.
Yeah.
The thing that I think they'll lean on here is the relationship with the Padawan and the Sith woman and her. She's got room to move. She doesn't have this strict alliance, and maybe she'll change. There's an arc there. I don't see... was there any other history between other characters that is going to be leveraged?
A lot.
Which ones?
So, you've got... Rebels... So, all of the good guys in Rebels, in this series, are based on Rebels. And Rebels has had a lot of time to develop all of those characters. So...
They can lean on those guys then.
They can. Life. It's just a question of whether they're going to lean too heavily on people's knowledge of the animated series.
I don't mind that. If there's some chemistry that we don't have yet that can inject some life, I don't mind it. What would you say is the biggest one that they can pull out, the biggest wild card?
I don't know about wild card. I don't know. There's a lot that... where this is going, there's a lot of potential. The Thrawn character is one of the best
Thrawn, yep.
villains. He's an amazing villain from the Legends trilogy and been brought into this. He's essentially a bad Sherlock Holmes.
Ah, right. Okay. I
So
haven't
he's a
seen
very
him.
interesting character, and there's so much you can do with him.
Yeah, that's true.
So
They have set it up as him being this thing that they're seeking.
they're setting him up as the big bad, but depending on where they go, he could be a lot more nuanced. So it's going to be very interesting to see what he does, because if he turns him into a typical bad guy with no ulterior motive, because Thrawn was
Does he have a
always
relationship with Ahsoka then?
uh
Have they met before?
yes, that he so the whole missing Thrawn thing was the basis of where Rebels went. So the person they're looking for, this Ezra guy, him and Thrawn, like, there's something happened at the end of Rebels, and Thrawn and him went off to another galaxy, which is where we are now. So
He was defeated though, Thrawn.
yes, but the thing is that the only way, and this is the thing that's been set for Thrawn in a lot of the series, is he has been almost impossible to beat. Like, Thrawn is the ultimate tactical genius. He thinks his way through everything. He's 20 steps ahead of everyone. And it's only through some sheer circumstances that are beyond his knowledge, like
Ah,
factors he didn't take into account. And those are the only things that have really defeated him.
I see. Okay, that would be interesting.
Like, he gets to know all of his adversaries well enough to predict their behaviors. He's into artwork.
Well, see,
And
I'd love to
the
see
artwork of
that, like a
cultures.
game of chess, like played out
He's
on
a
screen.
very interesting character, and there's so much you can do with him. So there's so much potential there. So it depends on what they do with him.
That's a big wild card. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
fingers crossed.
And
then.
the Ezra, yeah. So what do you want to get into it?
Anything else? I think we
I
sort
need to
of
put some
set it up pretty
socks
well.
on.
I putting socks.
Can I put on some socks? I'll be right
yeah.
back. You can talk to the audience. We'll see
talk
how
to the
much we have.
We have one viewer. While Pete's getting his socks, I'd like to thank everyone for sticking with us all these years, even though we don't really post that much. We have actually recorded a Star Wars podcast, but I haven't put it up. It's 3 hours long. It's quite intense. But it's edited. I'll try and maybe edit some more, but anyway.
Hi, buddy. Look, you guys can share. You know, sharing. Sharing is caring.
Sharing is caring.
It's cold there, hey? Oh, you don't have your headphones. Cold there.
Oops. Yeah, a little bit of a balance. The droid, Sabine, Sardine.
So with your version, do you have the trailer? I do.
Yeah. Skip recap.
I'll
do you
watch
need a
it. I
recap?
need a recap. Ready?
I'll skip the.
Previously on Ahsoka.
No, I need that. I need that.
Okay.
Ready? 1,
Yeah.
2, 3,
You-
go.
They took the map.
Okay, that's what I say.
Previously on Ahsoka. Ahsoka befriends a cat. Morgan Elspeth. Nerdy guy.
Nerdy guy.
Former Imperial insurgents. Mass murder. Knights in shining.
Oh, you got me excited about Thrawn now.
Droids, an annoying girl. Annoying girl who we hope will not be annoying for much longer. Let's hope she learns not to be such an annoying,
Sorry,
arrogant
what are you
piece
saying?
of
It's too loud.
crap. Sorry.
What did he say?
Sabine Wren is an annoying character.
I walked away from Anakin. Padawan. Now on Ahsoka.
Episode 3.
Woo, 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 woo.
Gosh, I
That's
can't believe I just
Mandalorian.
forgot a whole series of Mando. It's just exited my mind as quickly as it went in.
Yeah.
It's that main
I've
character.
got-
I'm not a big fan of her.
I'm seeing the light now of
Yep.
the space.
Hyperdrive?
Yeah.
Oh shit, they're training.
Montage.
Oh, it's good, isn't it? It's a different type of training. It's like a keto, isn't it?
Hmm. Yeah. There you go. You're getting your wish.
It was like in the first 5 minutes, dude.
Yeah. But done a little bit differently, which I like. Like, it wasn't introduced as... Yeah.
It's pretty much the
there
same.
you go.
It's pretty
There's
much
the
the same.
line.
It's pretty much the same, dude.
It's pretty much the same. This is fanboyism, this stuff. This is the... Okay, so they're going to play it differently, which is what's good. You know, doing it a bit differently. Like, playing the same situation out, but doing it differently.
It's a little bit of copium there, I'm hearing.
Little what?
A little bit of copium.
Copium. Copium, as in, I'm trying to cope.
That's what they call it. These kids these days.
I've never heard that.
Kids.
These kids. Took a dose of copium.
Ahsoka.
There you go. I like that. What did you think? That was
Yeah.
that combined the Matrix with Star Wars.
Time to Fly. This episode was called.
I also think he's a better director than half of the episodes of The Mandalorian, or 3.
Did he direct this thing? Sometimes it changes.
Yeah, it does change, doesn't it? I'm not sure. But that was... I like that.
That's out of line. That's her son?
Maybe. Her husband was human. Oh, that's a stab. You know, as soon as anyone would leave the room and you're in that situation, you'd be trying straight away.
That's no moon.
It's a ring.
Ah, there she is.
Yeah, there's a lot of fanboy stuff in this.
Oh man, oh man. It's exactly what we talked about. It's the Millennium Falcon scene.
Yeah. I wonder if they're gonna like run out of tropes or whether they're just going to like recycle them by the end.
3PO.
Like, it's a red shirt.
Don't get cocky.
Good. Must admit, not a fan of the sound effect for the lasers.
It's different, isn't it?
Well, it's just not punchy enough.
Soundtrack's great. Copying John
Yeah,
Williams.
it's true. Good job.
Ooh. Oh, that's right, the ring. I forgot about this thing. Fuck no. It's doing a Mando season 3.
Yeah. I don't know. I think you remembered the relationship side of things than the actual plot points.
Stunning effects, though.
They are good, aren't they? Well, that's a bit of a gap. I don't think she blinks.
There's that intensity though. It's quite captivating.
Hmm.
This is pretty epic.
Hmm.
That was
Oh,
pretty epic.
there goes red shirt number 2.
Red shirt. Space whales. Oof. Really cool.
Hmm. No need to be obscene about it. You know that's David Tennant, right?
Who is he?
David Tennant, uh, Doctor Who.
Oh.
Um,
They really need
you
like an
know
R2 character to lighten him up there. Because he's a
that's
little
what
bit.
Chopper's.
Chopper should be here, hey. They shouldn't have split him up.
I think they'll introduce him later.
Oh, I get so much deja vu here. It's like watching Empire Strikes Back again.
That's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah, no. Like I say, these are things that I enjoy.
It's definitely better than The Mandalorian, I think.
Yeah, interesting.
You can see that I modeled those after old World War II planes.
Yeah, the what do you call them? Spitfires. Spitfires?
No, Thunderbolts probably.
Oh,
The Thunderbolts were the US versions, I believe.
oh,
Spitfires had a
the British ones.
conical nose. The British ones, yeah. They're the round one.
Oh man, it's Ruben. Where you been, mate? Looks a little bit like Russell Crowe there.
Mate.
Mate. Rusty. No dialogue. Damn it.
That's it.
Quite an engaging episode. It's funny how much we talked about.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Tropes galore.
In fact, the whole episode was. The whole episode
Yeah,
was exactly
it was
what we
an
talked about.
entire trope. It was like Star. If someone was to write like a manual for all of the things to include in a Star Wars show, this would be like blow for blow for blow for blow. It doesn't.
But
like,
it was
it's-
good, like I was saying. Like
Yeah,
I
I
like
enjoyed
the
it.
training thing. I was looking forward to that. And they did it, and they did the Millennium Falcon scene. The worm
Yeah.
thing, the thing with the whales, they just transposed it.
Yeah. Well,
Into
that's a
something
call.
else.
So space whales are actually a callback to Rebels as well.
Yeah, they've mentioned
So
that
there is.
in the final battle.
Yeah.
So they're reusing different things and sort of mixing it up, remixed.
Yeah. Well, something I noticed as well was I only realized it at the end there was that the pilots, the bad guy pilots, the red shirts, as in disposable secondary
Yeah.
characters, in The Mandalorian when Ahsoka was actually introduced, I think all the bad guys in that were all mask wearing bad guys as well. So it's actually I only realized it was consistent with what had come before.
With Mando, you mean?
Yeah, like remember on the Mandalorian one when Ahsoka was introduced? You probably don't remember. I don't blame you. They were. It was a town.
Right.
It was a very Western ninja
Mm.
episode, and the bad guys all wore masks similar to that.
All right. Do you think it is effective?
Oh, it was just consistent.
Consistency.
They were just disposable bad guys. So,
I think I really liked the atmosphere of this one compared to
yeah,
previous ones. It felt a lot tighter.
the momentum it's building
Momentum.
momentum.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I think the
also,
previous. Sorry. Yeah.
well, just the fact that they're using they're leveraging the strengths of these characters. There's that intensity of this woman, and she's pursuing them, and it's like that was quite engaging because
Mm,
you felt it more than it felt like more of a chase, like
mm.
that's what we were sort of expecting to happen, and now sort of paying off a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. Um, and there was a bit of that the bad guy one-upmanship.
Yes, with her,
Yeah.
with Morgan.
Like, I like that little stuff. It adds a bit. It's more than just curses. They got away.
No, yeah,
Um, like this is a lot more standard fare, Star Wars fare than like Andor or something, which is much more sophisticated. But for what it is, it's good. I like it.
I think the
I don't
weakness
think.
for me is always Sabine. I don't
Yeah.
know. I think she's just got not. She doesn't have enough experience to hold like her own. Like I really wish she would put more into her character. Like actually be in the role. I think she's just
Yeah.
acting at this point. It's not
I
actually.
think that. Yeah. I
She's not.
agree.
Yeah, it's like when she's frustrated about something, she says she's frustrated, but she's not
Yeah.
like expressing it with her body and
Well,
like
I,
her
I,
face and her emotions.
well, I think it's, I don't, I disagree a bit. I think it's not that. I think that pretty much that is her one emotion that she expresses is that she's frustrated basically from the start of this episode through most of it. She was frustrated. She was just to be continued. Um,
But there's that like what you just did, and then
mm,
there's like, oh fuck, you're frustrated. It's like you're about to become unhinged. You can do that level of frustration too. There's levels of it. Whereas she's
mm.
just like this like tiny bit of it.
I see.
It's
Yeah,
like
I know. Like
it's
it's
not actually to be taken
control.
seriously.
It's passive aggressive anger.
Yeah, it feels like that, and we don't get engaged by that. We don't get like,
Yeah, I that was actually was something that was interesting. Uh, that was one thing that was good about The Force Awakens when it came out was the energy of all the characters. Like all the characters, a lot of energy. And
yeah, they
I
were barreling
remember,
forward. Hey,
and in and I remember hearing there was something that Daisy Ridley said was that uh that like J.J. Abrams said that she was really wooden. Like after they hired her and she started doing her scenes, she was very wooden
who said that?
uh,
JJ.
and not very expressive. Yeah, and she like had to take that on board and do something about it. And I think that
You've
maybe
worked.
that's and it worked because that like for I don't really like it's I didn't I liked Force Awakens when it came out. The problem with Force Awakens was the follow up, what they did with everything that's I mean there was stupid stuff in it, but like the whole there's introducing a ring that's a hyperspace thing that actually has a purpose to do something else, and then there's introducing a bigger Death Star, and then saying, "Oh, it's a bigger Death Star," and everyone's supposed to go, "Oh, well, they called it out. It's a bigger Death Star, so that's okay then."
I don't
Do you
think
know
it
what I mean?
justifies what they're doing here. I really don't. Like
What?
I can enjoy it
You
for
know,
what it is, but I still think it's just treading old ground.
it is treading. Oh yeah, absolutely. It's definitely treading. Um,
I can appreciate it for
like
what it is, but it's not making any. I'm not categorizing this as like a wow moment for like my Star Wars
no,
universe. It's like I've seen
no,
this and I can appreciate it, but
yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's nothing
It's
new.
enjoyable. Uh, I would say if someone said, "What's Ahsoka like?" I would have said, "Yeah, it's good," but I wouldn't. It's not like how I would describe Andor. Like if someone asked me, what I thought of Andor, I would have said, look, it's you know, it's like pretty, like
And
it's
Rogue One,
like fantastic.
it's like that same universe, but fuck, they really did take
Yeah.
it to that.
There's
extra.
something about it. Yeah, there was something about it. There was like a darkness to it, but complexity to the characters. They were, and I hate it when people say that sometimes. When people talk about the complexity of characters, what it means is that they're neither good nor bad in a lot of instances. They do things that are bad, but they have good intentions and things like that. And I think that's probably the thing with a lot of these characters, is that they are all good and they're all good. Like their intentions align with their behaviors.
I don't even think you need complexity. You can have a great villain, like that Aussie guy in Rogue One. He was pretty much straight up villainous.
Yeah,
but he was great in that role. He was like,
that's true.
He sold it, man. He
did
just such a great performance. And it was black and white. He was black and white as you get. That's the
performance. Yeah, that's true.
Ben Mendelsohn, is that his name?
Yeah, but there were relationships in that. Like in Rogue One, even then, like there was a relation. He was a bad guy through and through, yes, but he had relationships with some of the characters in that, so he played with those characters and the relationships that they had. So he wasn't bad guy just going r. And he was also someone where there was actually a bit of politics playing out in Rogue One as well, where you had Tarkin coming in, and it wasn't just he's at the top of the ladder from start to finish, and he's ultimately defeated. Like that wasn't how it played out in Rogue One.
No, it wasn't.
So there was a bit of complexity.
That is good writing, because it places you in a position where you have gaps either side. You don't have the full backstory. You don't have the full future, like of where he's heading. You're in a very good place for the story to happen.
You're in a spot to experience that character being that character in the situation.
Where he's got the past relationships that you have to see from his face. You can only tell the relationship with, what's the scientist's name? Hannibal. Whatever that guy's name is.
Hans Christian Andersen.
Hans Christian Andersen. You only experience it through his face and his words.
Lars Mikkelsen? Mars Mikkelsen? Lars Mikkelsen.
Bruno Mars?
Bruno Mars.
I'm pretty sure it's Bruno.
It's not Bruno.
But
it's Mikkelsen.
But that's why in this movie, where they show the villain at the end, they had a space for dialogue, but there was nothing. There was like, they have that opportunity, and I felt that was squandered.
It's Lars Mikkelsen.
Not Bruno Mars?
Oh no, Lars Mikkelsen is actually the that's the actor that's playing Thrawn.
What? In this?
Yeah.
How can he? He was in Rogue One.
No, it's not. I was wrong. It's not.
Oh, it's not Lars. It's Bruno. I
think
said it was Bruno.
I think he has a brother, and I think that's who.
Bruno Mars, isn't it?
Yeah, Mads Mikkelsen.
Mads. Oh, it's his brother.
So
right.
Mads Mikkelsen in Rogue One. Mads and Lars. You can't blame me for getting that wrong.
Do you feel that way? Like at the end where he's just standing there, he could have said something, or like there could have been something a bit more done with that?
Oh, you mean which?
Well, we saw him finally, the villain, Ruben.
Oh, Ruben.
And then all he said was, "Get them there in the forest," It's kind of like what you said, the shaking of the fist, like the curses.
Yeah. You ruining kids. I have to look this up now. I'm not going to sleep until I know what the villain's name is. He's like, the guy's name was Ray.
Who?
Ray Stevenson. Balin Skull. There you go. Not too far off Ruben.
Balin. So he is an Aussie.
Is he?
Balin's such an Aussie name.
Ray is. I don't know. It's a bit. Oh, Northern Ireland. He's from Northern Ireland. Or was, I should say. Sorry.
Okay, not a Nazi.
Poor guy passed.
Oh, yeah. How old was he?
58.
Shit, eh? Do they say how?
Yeah, it sucks.
He's a great actor.
I kind of try to avoid looking into things like that.
Right.
Well, I don't know. There's like I don't like knowing everything about a person's
Passing.
life. It feels like kind of gossip and just enjoying news for news sake. But like I don't blame it's not a judgment on other people. It's just I don't know. Like going in and say, oh well, he died because he committed suicide. And
Oh,
blah, blah, blah.
right. Okay.
No, I don't know that. I don't think he did. I'm saying that it sounds like gossip. Does that make sense? Like when you talk about this guy committed suicide or whatever. I don't believe that that's what happened. I think he had an aneurysm or something.
Poor dude.
Oh, there was no cause of death revealed. There you go.
So I'm going to go through a couple frames. The Aikido scene.
He was reportedly hospitalized while on set filming Casino in Ischia, an island in Italy. Yeah. So it doesn't say what the reason is. And, yeah. So it was probably COVID.
I'm just showing a couple of frames on the stream for our viewers. The Aikido scene. You said you liked it because we couldn't really talk while it was going on. You said you like what they did with it. It's a twist on.
Yeah, it was. You're familiar with they called it something different. You're familiar with it. So what they were doing was they weren't just showing. Like what they did was they brought something that was in the original Star Wars and they actually put it into the context of like the Jedi Order and structure and the way that they talked about it, and then they did it a little bit differently. So they were playing with. They used it, but they put it into a different situation and gave it a different context and gave it a different experience. And I thought that was, and they shot it differently and everything. I thought it was good.
And then quickly it sort of goes to this really weird scene I thought was weird in where Hera, what's her name? The green-skinned woman?
Yeah. Oh, that's where she goes.
What's her name? Hera.
Hera. Yeah.
Hera's the goddess of something in Greek, isn't it? Hera?
Yeah, she's a goddess, yeah.
Yeah, she had she called him out.
The actress is the wife of Ewan McGregor. So I guess you could say that she is.
Oh, right. Is she? She's Ewan's wife.
She's Obi-Wan's
She's
wife.
pretty young, hey?
In real life. Mary Elizabeth Winstead or something like that.
But she called out this Asian senator saying you just waited until the victor emerged.
Yeah.
And then suddenly he switches and says, well, I believe your friend's dead. It's my opinion that Ezra's dead. So he got catty. And I was like, fuck, that's a weird scene to me. It just felt weird.
It wasn't.
I don't know. Like, what was your take? What was your take on it?
It's a good way of making you dislike like introducing a character that you're meant to dislike almost instantaneously.
Maybe that's why, because I had no opinion of him, but now she doesn't like him, but it doesn't actually make me dislike him. Makes me
really?
Until he said that. Until he said, "Well, I think Ezra's dead," and then he was like, "Okay, something weird just happened." Yeah. I don't even know what. It's not even like they're not even main characters.
He was taking. I think they were trying to establish a relationship there. You know, the relationship between that. They had to give a reason why there wasn't going to be support, so they had to establish a character that.
So he's like a scapegoat, is it?
Yeah.
Is that all that was? Because it was also showing a side to her that she's been fighting the war and like.
Yeah, it's backstory to like they've done yeah, like they keep dropping hints as to their history and stuff. So they're doing a bit of character development without expecting them to have, rebels and all of that stuff. Which
And then
is
she's
good.
got a son. I had no
Yeah,
idea she had a son. I thought she was the lesbian
you
lover
do
of
now.
Ahsoka.
But that's only because of the theme song.
You had it too, though, right?
I did. Well. I mean, it was like a play on
Swelling.
layers. It was a play on layers thing.
Swelling like my emotions, like my loins. But who's her father then?
Your
Who's the
loins
father?
do swell.
Who's the father of the son? Of the green-haired son?
So her dad, she had a relationship with a former Jedi who sacrificed himself in a scene that you were describing about, holding back fire or something like that with the Force.
Ooh, really epic.
And then they escaped and he died.
Oh gosh. And then she moves the cup, and you called it. She was trying to move the cup. It was a little bit of reverse psychology.
What do you mean?
It's not the best way to, I don't know, like she says, well, some people who aren't disciplined can't do this. It was like, and she's trying, I want to do that thing.
I thought that she was just trying to say, hey, look, start small. Like,
Yeah.
I'm showing you something small. Maybe give that a go. And I think you're right about the actress who's playing Sabine. I'm not going to say she's a bad actress, but I think that someone needs to tell her to give it a bit more. I think she needs to give it a bit more. Like, I think that she's not expressing enough. Like, she's not giving the character enough emotion.
And it's not even like I've got a frame of her concentrating. It's not even like that she's not giving enough. It's like what happens after and before. It's like how fucking how do you take that in? Like, she tries and then gives up, but then she just sort of like,
yeah, that's what I'm like. Her expression is, there's not a, like, some actors can give, like, in the moments where there's no dialogue. That's
she just
where
takes
the
a
actor,
sip, She takes a sip of the thing.
The actor has to shine. Like, that's where that's not even about the writing. That's where the actor is given an opportunity to perform their art.
Like grip the cup or like spill a bit and like fucking toss your hair or do something, like fucking just show it rather than just take a sip and.
Well, it's not even just that. Like, there wasn't.
I'm being super critical, by the way. I'm sorry. This is quite a public forum.
No. Well, I mean, I'll give you an example. Like the bad character Padawan has just constant levels of intensity, which you were responding to. And the problem with this character is that she's just sort of arrogant. And that seems to be the overriding characteristic of the character, is this overconfidence. But which is almost like an.
Well, she opened up like I don't even think it is, because she opened up. She says, "I don't think I can feel the Force in the way that other people do." That's quite a vulnerable admission, and she wants to feel. She does want to progress. So she's in that space of like openness. But I don't know.
But those are that's what's been written.
That's the written word.
That's the written word. It needs to be accompanied by some better, more emotive acting or something that shows.
I do think you're right.
It's reflective of what's going on behind the scenes.
I do think you're right. And then she jumps in Luke Skywalker's turret. Exactly the same. How it's shot, like stunningly done. Like the moving seat and like the reaction shots and tracking his vision. Fucking hell, man. They nailed it. And like the lasers. Ugh. Like the sound design wasn't as good. Like the lasers weren't as oomphy.
It just wasn't iconic, that's all. And it needed a bit more bass to the sound. But apart from that, it was fine.
What were your thoughts of that whole thing unraveling?
It was good. It was good fun. Yep. I don't know why they concentrated on trying to kill the Jedi when they could have just shot at the ship that wasn't moving. But
Well, to me, that was the trope. You know, that's the Sith first Jedi
Yeah.
thing. It's like it's always going to
Yeah.
play out.
it was a
With-
draw.
you have to
It was
suspend
supposed to
belief.
draw. Yeah. Well, I guess the whole thing about being Sith
Suspend disbelief.
is you have an emotional component, which is arrogance and passion. So theoretically, you could justify that as them being drawn off to kill
And
the
I'm
Jedi.
such a big fan of that actress. Hey, the woman. What's her name? What are you going to call her?
Derek's fiance.
Hopefully, one day. She's amazing. Like,
I would say Psycho Eyes.
Psycho Eyes. No blinking. It's true.
No.
She didn't blink for that whole time.
No, she doesn't blink.
But I mean, she didn't have much to work with. Like, they didn't give her that much dialogue.
Ivana no, she doesn't have a lot to work with. No, she doesn't have a lot to work with, and she's doing well with what she's got.
Exactly.
Because she's not coming. Like, I don't know how many times I've seen in things like Mandalorian, like them just butcher. They have like 3 lines, and they get every single one of the. It's just like, yeah, the most common trope in Star Wars, and the greatest example of where a person just always screws it up is, "I failed you, Derek." It's just like there's no like people like literally what comes right after "I failed you" is they die. So they have to have like there's always an emotive component that should be to it, right?
Yeah.
But they do it like this: "I failed you, Derek."
And then squint. And then,
Yeah, so it's like, "I'm sorry, I failed you." Or it's not even that. Most of the time it's just, "I failed you, Derek."
fuck, is it that
Wow.
bad?
It
I
is that bad.
pretty much switched off during that thing.
No, there's that's like that's an example where I've seen it a few times. In fact, I think they cut some of the scenes out. That was in Revenge of the Sith was an example, but there are other ones as well. But in Mandalorian, a great example of where you just got the worst actress for the job or actor.
I'm not a
is
fan
in-
of her. She was in Battlestar, right?
Who?
This is the main woman? The one that you said
Oh,
is the
I
whole...
wasn't thinking about her.
Oh,
But yeah, Starbuck.
Starbuck.
She would. Oh gosh, it's left my brain now.
She falls
But,
into this less emotive character for me.
Yes, she
Actor.
does. She does that
Yeah.
as well.
She
does
purses her lips and just
There's
does
a
the
lot
personal
of that in Star Wars. All of the like, it's almost like they say to her, "Now look, you're a strong female character." Okay, I'm a strong female character. You know what that means, don't you? Yes. What
Don't
does that
show
mean?
emotion.
Don't show emotion. That's right.
But I've got a shot of this woman, the blonde woman, Ivana, on screen right now, and she is so intense, man. She's not blinking. It's just like pure fucking intensity. She is showing all the emotion, and I think her character can go 2 ways. It can either go full dark, which would be amazing to see, but also maybe becoming like drawn to the light, being the thing that unhinges the main dark, the big bad.
I hate to break it to Derek, but my prediction is that nothing like that will happen with her character
Really?
because she's too small.
Really? Oh,
Yeah,
that
I
breaks
think-
my heart.
No, yeah, but the reason why is because you want her to have more of a part because she's doing something in her thing that you're resonating with. So that you want to see more of this person, just like the bad guy and all of that stuff. Like that's the whole thing, good at, like if a person's embodying their character and you feel it, like you're drawn to it. Like she has not had that many lines. Hell, Darth Maul is one of the most famous characters, and he says like one sentence.
Well, the thing that
Yeah.
tipped me off is that line that I told you in the beginning. Is like, what about us? So there is that us. So she's tied to him.
Yes.
So there will be something. There's got to be something.
Oh, there will be. I'm sure. Well, I don't know. It depends on what they do. It all depends on what they do.
Or she could
I
fail
think
him.
that
I failed you.
yeah, yeah. Oh god, you could do
I
that
failed
too.
you.
We could see how it's done well. We'll see what happens when a person actually does it well. But like, yeah, but there's so many examples of just bad acting in the
And
Mandalorian.
then she jumps out of the ship. I didn't see that coming. That was pretty epic. And she had the lightsabers outside of the ship. Because we were talking about epic things that Jedi can do, and here's a pretty epic thing that we haven't seen before. So
She didn't really use the Force though. She just used her lightsabers.
yeah, hopefully they're still
But
coming. But that was a good start.
yeah. Well, yeah. It actually, you're right. That was something that you very much pointed out was if this character's supposed to be so epic, can we at least see? And they've done that. Like at the beginning of the first one, she did some cool stuff. I really like the thing where she threw the lightsabers and then used the Force to twirl them around and then caught them again.
Yeah.
That was cool.
So we're
And
getting
then,
glimpses of it. So hopefully it's leading to a bigger payoff.
Like I think they do a lot of subtle things with her to show that she's, really accomplished, and it's her responding to the situations in a cool way. So they need to create the situations for her to respond to, which I think they're doing.
Yeah.
But you can't. At the same time, you also can't. She can't be the best Jedi that there ever was. So she's got to be one of the best, but that doesn't mean that she is the best, because then you have a whole bunch of other stuff.
That's the
Other can of
thing.
worms
That's
that
the
you
interesting point that you brought up, that people will rank them. It's not just unlimited, even though technically it should be, because the Force is, available to us all. That's what she says. And it's
Well,
like,
that's actually that was a very interesting line there, because that was trying to do something. Well, it's more than that. There's a debate between it's like a nature versus
the
nurture.
midichlorian thing.
Yeah. So it's
I'm a more purist. I go back to Yoda where he says actually to Obi-Wan where he says it binds us. It's in everything. In Star Wars,
Yeah.
it was the first one. He talks about it.
yeah. So they tried
It's
to
not
do that.
midichlorians.
So, like what they were trying to do in this situation was kind of bridge the gap between the two, and also to have a dig at the Force Awakens, which made Rey like this ultimate Force user who needed no training or whatsoever.
Yeah.
So
Do you think it was a dig though? I don't think it was a dig.
I don't know if it was a dig. I think it might try to be more of a redirecting it so that steer people away from that line of thinking.
And then the epic whales, the space whales. Holy crap! Stunning.
Yeah, the effects in this are pretty good.
Just the green lasers through the clouds, like through the curves. It was that worm moment, but like times.
And there were
a
moments,
million.
even watching it on the screen, there were a few moments of like, a little the little tensing of the gut.
Yeah.
Which is good. Like you don't. I think if you're sitting in a cinema and you're watching that, I think it would have been fantastic. I would like to see some of the stuff in a cinema.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
I don't know, like I just don't know why they aren't doing it, because,
Where it sort of closed, the two tails, and they just went through.
That's right.
Millennium Falcon moment, hey?
Yeah.
Well, that's the closing of the worm thing. That's exactly what that shot is. In where they're
Yeah, that's right. You're right. Yeah, the trope again.
But this was a chase, so this is quite elevated. There's something else going on here. And then the escape, which was very nice. How they did that, they just settle down in the forest and it's quiet. Shit, that was like, I got like little buzzes.
Did you?
Yeah, just like that's exactly what happened when they were in that intense battle in the asteroid field, and they find a cave, and then it's all quiet.
Oh, I see. It's like a release of tension.
Yeah,
which is the stuff that you're feeling, because the silence has to get filled.
But it was exactly in Empire Strikes Back, that same feeling where they're in the cave and it's a mystery, and like they're watching all the stuff go over. They're hearing the sounds of it, sound design. And like you hear the planes going over, they're searching for them, but we're in the spaceship.
You're
you know,
right.
we're on the
You're right.
ground.
It's like all of that. He's picking all of his favorite parts of the Star Wars movies and incorporating them into this series. I mean, this is his one chance, potentially one chance to do the live action Star Wars
Do what he
because
wants
he's
to
been
do,
doing the
eh?
animation too. Yeah, this is his chance. So
Because the
all
other
the
one was
stuff
John
that
Favreau, wasn't it? Favreau directed Mando,
Favreau did a whole Mando. Mando was
but that
Favreau's
wasn't
baby.
Fellini, and now this is.
He's done directing in those. Like he's done a lot of the Star Warsy stuff in The Mandalorian, like the Luke Skywalker. Not the episode that introduced Luke Skywalker, but the Mando season 2.5. The
Oh
where,
right, yeah, Boba Fett.
yeah, and
But it wasn't directed by him. This one actually, it was directed by Steph Green.
Steph Green, yeah.
Who's that?
And the last one
that
wasn't
Seth
directed
Green's
by him
sister?
either. Yeah, I was wondering. It's weird because when I looked at it, they said that all were going to be directed by him, and then all the directors are not him.
But it ended with our friend Ruben. What's his name? Sorry.
Yeah, so Dave Filoni. Oh, Dave Filoni did the first one. Steph Green has did 2 and 3. Apparently, the next one's Peter Ramsey.
Oh right.
And then episode says, so this is what I was going to, I hate to break to you, Derek, but there's 8 episodes,
Oh
not
shit.
6.
It's not too bad.
So,
I feel a lot better
So-
after this episode. I mean, they got quite a lot of the tropes out.
yeah, and I think that they're filling the space, and they're not padding. You know,
I
they're
wouldn't
not
call that
padding.
episode a patter. Like
No,
most
there
of
was
it
no
was
padding.
action. Like really, from 10 minutes in. Oh no, maybe no, yeah, about halfway. Halfway it
Sorry?
starts. From about halfway the action. So half an episode of action.
Yeah, but the like you could consider the first scene, while not necessarily action, to be a dynamic scene in terms
Yeah.
of the training and that.
Yeah.
I'm just looking up who these directors are. And some of these have done a lot of episodes of different series. Geeta Patel. Meet the Patels, House of the Dragon. What's House of the Dragon? Oh, that's the Game of Thrones thing.
Oh, he directed it, hey? She did?
I don't know if Geeta is a she or a he.
Oh, right.
No judgment. I just
Steph
don't
Green?
know.
No? Who is Steph Green?
Not to be confused with Stephen Green or Stephanie Green.
A lot of greens, eh? Greens. Pretty common. name.
She's known for her work on the Book of Boba Fett,
Oh, she's in the biz.
Watchmen, Run and Jump, and New Boy. So, Run and Jump. What the hell is Run and Jump? I don't know who these. Mostly positive reviews. Best breakthrough feature. I don't like, yeah. Got all these, I don't know where these directors come from, but I mean, you know, the reason that they get these directors is because none of the well-known directors want to do Star Wars.
I think it's also a new generation coming through. Young
She did
directors.
some episodes of Luke Cage, Strange Angel, The Man in the High Castle, Watchmen. Hang on, this is Steph Green. She did chapter 2, The Tribes of Tatooine. So she did the one of the. This is the one of when he was learning to be with the Tusken Raiders. She did that episode.
Oh, wow, nice.
Which is probably one of the better, like, as much as every episode wasn't very good, that was probably one of the better ones that I do actually remember.
Yeah.
Because that was...
She did a good job, yeah, definitely.
An open forged branch. Parts of Tusk becoming one of their own. Flashback. Yeah, that's where they robbed the hover train, which was pretty good. Yeah, literally, she did the one good episode of Book of Boba Fett.
Well,
So there you go.
I think for me, the homage to the Millennium Falcon in that scene in this was just absolutely stunning. And definitely grateful that Disney is still pumping out this content, you know? They didn't have to. It would have paid off for them. Like, you know, they took a lot of hate. They took a lot of hate. But they managed to turn it around and get these things still loved, you know?
Oh, they're still getting a lot of hate.
Well,
they're
like,
getting
a lot of people love
tremendous
Mando.
amounts of
A lot of people love Mando.
They did. I don't think the third season went very well.
Season 3, you mean? Well, they love season 1 and 2.
What did I say?
I don't know.
What did I say?
You mumbled.
You
You have a peg in your mouth. I'm not sure what you're doing.
Yeah, I know. It was from putting it on a bag of chips. Yeah, how did the third season go?
In terms of ratings, doubt it went well. I doubt it went well.
So they didn't like the sex scene. Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of it either.
I don't ever remember.
You remember that?
No.
You don't remember the sex scene? It was the one with the. Where they save. They have sex with the babies of the bird they kill. You know, they save the. They hunt down this bird.
The dragon
that's
thing.
feeding kids to their babies, and then they put the babies in the shuttle and they have sex with them.
What are you on about?
And then they come out at the end all mollified. You don't remember that?
No.
Oh, it didn't get very good ratings.
I thought they would have loved that, to be honest. I think that was your favorite thing.
I thought that was the highlight of the entire series. The orgy with three baby huge dragons. Yeah, absolutely. Who wouldn't? Yeah.
But any last thoughts?
Yes, I am making that up, Derek, just in case you go back looking for that scene in The Mandalorian. It's not there.
Yeah,
I made it up.
Any last thoughts on this one?
Good. I'm happy. I thought it was good. I enjoyed it. I'm not looking for it to be Andor. Andor is a different theme and thing altogether. This is definitely setting itself as a Star Wars. This is someone wanting to do Star Wars. This is someone who wants to do something that's almost like a continuation of a melding between the prequels and the original.
It feels that way. It feels quite ambitious, doesn't it?
Yeah.
In terms of it's taking itself quite seriously. Whereas
it's really trying to merge. I mean, it is. It's merging prequel stuff with original stuff. Like, a lot of the scenes that are occurring in the original trilogy are happening in the context of stuff that was set in the Jedi Order stuff, which is the prequels. So, yeah, it's melding those two together.
It's almost establishing itself as an authority. It's like, yes, we can do all these scenes, and we've done them in one episode. Now it's going to be interesting to where they take it, because now it's saying,
do next.
We're an authority in this. We can pull it off. And now this is where we're taking it, It's almost an open slate where they take it.
there's a this.
Well,
Can,
no, it's
there's,
not Open State. They've set up Thrawn as the big bad. They've going on this intergalactic whale journey.
Well,
They're
what
gonna
they
follow
can
the
do,
whales.
like, there's possibilities of where they could take. Like, they've established the situation, but that doesn't. But it's not. It doesn't have to be stale. Like, I mean, what some people I think are saying is like, they go to a new galaxy, so there's no rules if they're going to a new galaxy
Mm.
as well. So, if you want to extend a universe, what better way to do that than to take them out of a galaxy
Oh,
into
right.
another
Do you think we'll
galaxy?
see different forms of, like categories of not just Sith
I
and
don't know.
Jedi, but something else?
Well, that's what they could do. I mean, I don't know, but I mean, if you're going to have sequel trilogy and all of that type of stuff, like if you're going to have the Force Awakens and all of that continue, and you want to keep your characters alive, what better way than to not even have them in the same ballpark as everything else? Yeah, there's lots of different ways that they could take this. Like they could make Thrawn a good guy. For all there's no rule. Like there's a lot they can do.
But the
Like
fact that
they've established that.
they've done it in this way makes me think that they're not done with this yet. With this sort of, they're not completely over getting all these ones out of the system.
You mean there's got to be more?
There will be more
There's
tropes.
more tropes.
There will be more tropes.
Yeah.
Particularly around the villain and how he plays out, and
Well, I guess. Well, are they? They are creating a different situation and using they're using the trope. They're using scenes from previous films in a different context.
well, I'll name it
Right.
specifically. The one I'm thinking of is they're building up Luke's character. So she's gone through Luke's arc. She's trained and doing all this, and she will get the Force eventually.
Sabine
Sabine will get the
being-
Force, and then it'll be all powerful, and we'll get the rush of dopamine. But it's sort of like, and that will be a trope itself. That's going to come up. We have to get that hit now that they've built it up this way. But also with the villain,
they've got the cup.
the cup, she'll do the cup again, and that'll be the the callback to that. And yeah, it could have been a bit more,
Subtle.
something. I don't know. It could have been something more dynamic, to be honest, I thought.
Than a cup.
They went a bit low budget for me.
What would
Cup
you?
moving across. But I tried to
A
restrain
what?
myself. The cup moving across
what?
was a bit low budget for me. Because they had a special effect droid. Lucas was on the ball, man. This thing moving around, we'd never seen it, and he's got to deflect it. It was like, shit, that's really inventive.
No, but I get that. No, but I get the cup thing, because the cup thing is a mundane thing in life, and it's something that anyone growing up, right, has an object, is going up, and they learn about magic and using their mind to do things. Tell me there's not a person on this earth who hasn't heard those type of stories and has tried to move something with their mind and pull it towards them.
Yeah.
So establishing a mundane object that we can all relate to, and then using that as something to pull. You literally could have kids after watching Ahsoka trying to move cups with their mind.
Yeah.
Because it's a mundane object that everyone can identify with.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So I'm going to shut you down hard on that one. Sorry.
Wow, I just think this well, I was in a position where the series is slow enough, and I was like, fuck, man. You're really gonna do
A cup.
a cup.
You're going to do a cup.
But they saved it with the big chase after that, So, but yeah, so I guess yeah.
Oh, so you're like, well, but it had to be something small that she could actually practice. Like you couldn't get her to try to move her. Like,
But in
it's better
terms
than
of
a
like
stone.
the fight itself, she was just tapping on the shoulder with that thing.
Yeah.
It was very, very, very stripped back.
Yeah, she wasn't using his lightsaber on her shoulder.
Wow, there was just the droid flying around.
That's
like
Oh, I see what you're saying. They weren't using They weren't using the ball that shot her.
Ah, that was there. Fucking hell, man.
But that would be too. No, that would be
Too on the
too much.
nose.
If they did that, that wouldn't be on the nose. That would be just a rip.
That
People
would
would
be
just say that they
copyright.
ripped off the scene. Like, I'm so surprised that you would suggest that because you would have hated it.
No, I wouldn't
You
have.
saw.
Like, I probably would have hated it, yeah. Maybe. I don't know. I would have liked watching
They
that, how they
did it.
recreated
And I don't really remember, but I'm pretty sure they did it in Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, they did. Didn't they? Yeah, they did, didn't they?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I've only ever watched it once.
I
can't
have
bring
as
myself to
well.
watch it again.
Yeah, no. It's funny, eh? I know, I've watched
yeah,
it. I've watched bits of it multiple times. I haven't watched the whole thing,
Okay.
start to finish, more than once. I quite liked how
watched-
they built up the end with Lando coming in and all that. I'm a big fan of Lando.
I like, I tried to watch The Last Jedi a while ago, and I just couldn't get past the beginning. I just couldn't get past it.
Well, I've
It's
watched
just-
that scene with the throne room quite a lot. I like that scene where she grabs the lightsaber.
The fights.
The fight scene. It's really well choreographed. It's really stunning.
Which one?
With Rey and Kylo Ren battling back to back.
No, but is this
Right,
Oh,
that's-
in Last Jedi? Oh,
Well choreographed.
Okay.
You can't deny that.
I can.
Why?
There's like, I don't want to go into it. I don't want to break your
Oh, I'm not
don't-
attached to it at all.
There's just people have shown stuff like they've already like.
Oh,
I don't
you
know
mean
why I
like
see
little
this stuff, 'cause
gaps?
it's-
Like if you
I don't-
frame by frame it, obviously you'll pick up that.
No, it's like situations where you see some guys who are about to hit Ray and they just don't. They stop trying to hit Ray, or they go in the other direction, or
That's what I mean. If you frame by
guy-
frame it, but like as a
one guy cuts off her arm at one point, and yeah, there were points where they are stopping to wait to do that. Like, you don't even need to. As soon as when you ever heard about the bear in the background of a thing where you're watching a film and you don't realize that there's a bear that's just walking in the background because you're supposed to be focusing on it, but once you mention it, there's nothing else you can look at.
Oh, I see.
Like,
So you've
as
seen
soon
all
as you
those
say
things.
that, as soon as you see it in The Last Jedi, you can't unsee it, and it's like, yeah, and they just sped up the frame rate. It's not as well choreographed.
But what was
as
how many times have you seen it? You wouldn't have seen it that many times then. If you said you
The
can't watch
Last
it.
Jedi?
Yeah.
No, I've seen it twice. Maybe 3 times, but I think twice. I saw it twice at the cinema. The first time I walked out going, like, "Oh, this is great, yeah," and then feeling like I've been like there was something wrong, feeling wrong, and then watching it again and walking out, feeling even like worse, and then thinking about it more, and then realizing how much I was not happy about it.
I thought it was a good scene.
And,
I don't know, man.
But-
You say you only seen it twice, but you can't watch it and not see these
no,
things.
the last Jedi.
Yeah.
No, I'm not talking about that fight scene. That fight scene is insignificant in the greater context.
I
of
was
all the
talking
crap
about
that's
the
in
fight
Last
scene.
Jedi. Yeah. Oh, the fight scene was fine. It's when I first saw it, I thought it was really well choreographed as well. But then when people point out that she gets her arm chopped off at one point, that that there are.
But that's the
some of
thing. People are looking for their own.
They are. Yeah, they are. It's just there are scenes like, but there's choreographed scenes that you can't argue against, and there are ones you can. If you want to watch a scene 100 times, there is something
Like
that
Duel of
hold up.
Fates. That's one of those
Yeah.
scenes. But you look at what they did, Ewan McGregor with his intensity training as hard as he did. He was
Yeah.
the one. He was the only one that pulled it off. Like no actor would
Yeah.
do that other than him. Like no director could force an actor to do anything like that.
Yeah,
And it's like his dedication. And it's like, because he loved it. And that's the only
Yeah.
reason why it's that scene. That's such a rare thing.
But the choreography itself was very good too.
But like it could have been so brilliantly choreographed, but unless he trained, he could never pull that stuff off. Like there was some stuff that was just like physically, you had to be like fucking agile as that. And they're faking it now because they're not really putting in the work. They have to cut and like piece it together. Whereas like, he could pull it off. He could pull it off. One take probably.
Fine. It's like the second thing that comes out.
But I feel like you're carrying a lot of hate around this around this particular topic as well, because I wasn't talking about Last Jedi.
Yeah, I did. Well, yeah, I think it was because you mentioned. There's not much you have to mention that'll probably set me off.
That'll take you down this rabbit hole. It'll just take you back down.
Absolutely. I just posted a link, in the chat.
I can't open it because it's streaming. It's like that's where our faces are.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, you can have a look at it later, if you want. If you want to continue to enjoy it, that's fine. Don't watch it.
Like I say, I'm not as attached to it as you are.
I'm not attached is the wrong word. More like burdened by or PTSD.
Yeah, but you got to let it go.
Attached
as
well. Yeah,
At some point.
I know.
Because we got to keep watching Star Wars, aren't we? It looks like there's another couple of decades worth of content now. They got a new galaxy.
Well, I mean, yeah. Look, Ahsoka's already better than, like, those the other 3 episodes are still better so far than at least The Last Jedi. Like, when Force Awakens came out, it gave a lot of that. It had a lot of, for all its some of the stupid stuff in it, it had the right energy, and it wasn't a really bad film. It was an enjoyable film. I enjoyed watching Force Awakens. It's just but Last Jedi starts off bad, and just as soon as you think about the stuff that's happening in it, then you just start like there's a your mama joke in like the first scene.
I'm gonna call it, man. I'm not going down this rabbit hole again. I don't know why you keep going down it. All right, any last thoughts on this?
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
You?
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah. Good for what it is. Good for what it is. And we talked about that.
Yeah. So let's talk about it some time. All right. Have a good night. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks,
I'll
everyone.
never mention Last Jedi again unless Derek brings it up, and then we can blame him.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
We know what I'm like, so you know what Derek's gonna do.
What am I gonna do?
You're gonna mention The Last Jedi.
Oh, am I? Holy shit! No.
It's like, don't mention the war.
Don't mention the war.
Don't mention The Last Jedi.
You saw Indiana, hey? I just started watching it. It looked good, eh? The start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. Yep.
Because the Nazis.
Sorry?
All the Nazi references. It really tickles me.
Why?
At the start of that, where it's a young Indiana.
Literally, yeah, with the Nazis, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All the Nazis, they're not references,
No.
they're literally the Nazi scenes.
No, but like they're referring to the war. It's not over, and like just the way Han plays it, because he's got his old voice. It's current.
Yeah, I know.
It's current Harrison with a young face, but he's so gruff and like.
I still enjoyed it because you know what it is. Like, there's nothing that they can do about it. It just is what it is.
I thought they
you
would have
seen
tried
the
to AI his voice.
Have you seen, like, there's a photo of what he looks like when he's actually in the...
Oh no, I haven't seen that.
Like, it's side by side. He just looks like a grandpa.
He doesn't look
looks like
happy,
a
eh?
grandpa. No, well, yeah, but he might have been happy, but just he's got grandpa face, so he didn't.
But they kept his voice, which is funny. I thought
Yeah,
they didn't alter it in any way.
yeah, side by side. I'm just gonna see if I've got that. So, what was it called? What's
Dial of
which
Destiny.
Indiana? Dial of Destiny. It just really look. I don't know why. So it just looks fun.
I'll check it out later. Maybe we should end this first.
Yeah. All
All
right.
right. Thanks
Thanks everyone.
everyone. See ya.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.